Let's bring in Daily Telegraph columnist Tim Blair. You can follow his blog via the Daily Telegraph too. Joins us from Wimmera area in Victoria. Good to talk to you, Tim.
As always, mate.
I thought we'd start off with the ABC for a change. And there's this bloke who's a radio presenter in Sydney. I don't know whether he's national or if it's just in Sydney. His name is Josh Zepps. And he decided to sort of quit his job on air, saying that he was too spicy for the ABC. He liked too much debate. But when he sort of listed the topics he's got strong views on, it's the same old green left stuff. You know, maybe he was just a bit too out there on that stuff, even for the ABC.
Absolutely, he's an anti-Hansonite.
Oh, well, that's unusual.
There's a great shock, and he says that he'd for a start, it may be a measure of the fellow's success as a broadcaster that we've never heard of him before. That he's not exactly, you know, oh my God, where were you when you heard that Josh Zepps decided to quit? But he claimed at one point during his departure speech that the people we needed in journalism were more of Andrew Wally and John Pilger and Mike Carlton. Well, Pilger and Carlton aren't exactly, you know, your raging youth these days, and good luck booking Andrew Ollie, just quietly.
Andrew Ollie, from my experience, of course, God rest his soul, was a very, very fine journalist. But Mike Carlton is just a somewhat grumpy old screaming lefty on Twitter. And Pilger, well, we know Pilger. Pilger's a verb, isn't it? You Pilger a story by giving it a particularly sort of Machiavellian left conspiracy theorist leftist treatment. I'm going to play a little bit of Josh Zepps and his resignation on air, and I want to ask you about another aspect of it. Have a listen.
Having truly rational, bullshit-free conversations about controversial issues is risky these days. The penalties for speaking bluntly, the penalties for trying to coax people out of their thought silos and their echo chambers are very high. You know that I don't do bullshit. I'm a bit of a straight shooter. The bottom line is, I'm a bit too spicy for this gig.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, yeah, he's a straight shooter, straight from the green left like everybody else on those same touchstone issues. But the interesting thing here, Tim, is that he says he's going to concentrate full-time on his podcast. Apparently he's got a popular podcast. He's monetising that. He's going to make a lot of money out of that. So isn't he just using the ABC to advertise his commercial interest? And he's going to keep doing that every day till he finishes the job?
Well, all credit to him if that's what he's done. He's turned taxes into actually something worthwhile. But, you know, it's not really an individual's role to give themselves a review like that, to say, look, I'm just too damn good. I'm too hard.
Exactly. I'm too good for this joint.
Yeah, that's a reviewer's role, really. And also when he's saying that, you know, it's uncomfortable, you know, speaking bluntly, well, you know, we know that he doesn't like Pauline Hanson because he mentioned earlier as well that, you know, he might be the sort of type of person who'd challenge an uncle who voted for Hanson at a Christmas party. But didn't Hanson get in trouble for speaking bluntly? Isn't he on her side maybe here? Maybe he could have reflected his due. Yeah,
a very, very good point. Now, I want to go to the transgender people in sport issue, and it's reared its head in pool. A pool player, Lynn Pinches, has withdrawn from a professional pool tournament on the basis that she was going to be up against a biological man. This all played out in front of a crowd, and when it became clear that she was going to quit, that is surrender effectively rather than take this game, the crowd was on her side. Have a look.
Yes, Lynn!
So she got applause for forfeiting, and that was good because there was another couple of people who had their dollar coins on the table and they could join in next.
Well, this is an area where it's up to women. If women want to maintain control of their sports and they don't want to be defeated or challenged by biological men, it's up to them to do exactly what Ms. Pinches, which is, by the way, the best name of athlete you've ever come across. It's up to them to walk out and say, well, okay, you know, I'll play against a woman, but, not against a biological bloke.
Although I would have thought if there's any sport where it doesn't matter what gender you are, surely it's pool or snooker or whatever. There should just be open categories maybe. But yeah, as you say, good on her for sticking to her principles and not playing that game. Now, we often talk about electric vehicles, you and I, and of course how they are doing such a wonderful job in making this a better, cleaner, healthier planet. Have a look at this electric charging station on Sydney's northern beaches. Look at this. Apparently it's been there about a year. Isn't that wonderful for the environment? And taking up those car parking spaces in front of it. And actually, listen to this, because we've got a couple of locals, including a woman who works in that shop behind that monstrosity. They called in to Ben Fordham on 2GB this morning.
A lot of people think that you've gone out of business because they can't see your business.
That's right. They drive past, they can't see us.
You just see this big grey screen.
Big grey screen, exactly. Blocks the view. Not good for people walking past.
This giant thing, I thought it was a toilet block when I first saw it, and I thought, well, that could be handy. Or maybe it's Chris Bowen's mobile office and he's in there pedalling away to create the electricity. I don't know.
You got to get onto Cameron, Tim. I reckon you have some lines for your column. But it's just...
Well, yes.
That's not environmentally good. That is vandalism.
You wouldn't want to use it as a public toilet, would you, given how many volts are inside that particular thing? It might be an unfortunate end for whoever attempts that mission. But why does everything have to be ugly? Look at the damn thing. I mean, it needn't be that utilitarian. At least give it a dash of colour. At least, fancy it up a touch. Old petrol stations used to look pretty good. Like there was nothing wrong with a few petrol stations back in the old days. Your old Ampols, your old Essos, your old Shells. I know that the modern ones are a bit utilitarian, but put a bit of style on them and maybe people would embrace this EV stupidity more rapidly. The
EV stupidity. That is the worst recharging station I've seen. It's nearly as bad as the ones out on the Nullarbor that have their diesel generators to put the electricity into them. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
I'll tell you what makes them look better, a touch of flame, apparently, and that might happen. That might happen sooner than later.
Yeah, that'll be next on the agenda. Thanks for joining us, Tim. Appreciate it. Make sure you read Tim in the Daily Telegraph and get onto his blog through their website as well. I want to get to some of your feedback about last night's editorial where I looked at energy in this country, what we've done to ourselves. And one viewer says energy infrastructure failing, healthcare failing, vital communication networks failing, ports and logistics failing, general law and order failing. I think the weather and climate is about the most stable thing we have left. And another viewer says it will only take some weather event to cause a general blackout for the entire east coast of Australia once all the coal gas plants are closed and the backup lithium-ion batteries are flat. Yeah, are flat or on fire.